It was a 50-50 down the drain or 50-50 in the glass. I mean, that's where we were.
Napa Valley. Just north of San Francisco, this mere 450 square mile plot is home to 43,000 acres of grapes. Over 2,000 wines are made here, most sourced from grapes grown on the area's 400 vineyards, which welcome 3.7 million visitors each year. Women are rising in Napa. From the chef-driven excellence of Mustard's Grill, to the olive oil tasting experience at Grove 45, to Oprah's favorite English muffins at Model Bakery, to wines that deserve 100 points at Fantasca and Rarecat, women have shaped the excellence of this region, and they're defining its future as a destination. Plus, places like Reams, California are worth a visit before and after your Napa experience. If you like wine, or even if you aren't drinking, there's something for every taste in Napa Valley. In your visit to Rarecat Wines, it should be more than just a tasting experience. Ask to explore their sparkling wines, because it's a class in both history and chemistry. Sharon Kazan Harris, owner and winemaker at Rarecat Wines, also owns and operates a vineyard in France, and she makes bubbles. She knows firsthand the process for making champagne, as well as applying those techniques to sparkling wines in general. The grapes, technique, method, the life, and yes, the death of yeast. It all comes together to create the effervescence so many of us love. And it's amazing to try two sparkling wines, identical in grapes, yet entirely different based on two different processes. And one important note on etiquette: you don't swirl bubbles.
The bubbles coming up is swirling for you. Okay. So we swirl because it agitates molecules. And molecules is where we get the smells. And when we agitate them, they become more odorous. We get to smell them. You can smell them more easily. So when we do this, it's to make it smell more. That's why we do it. So the bubbles in here are doing that for us. It's like it's already included. And when you swirl, one of the things why you buy beautiful champagne is the bubbles. But I do think you do anything you want. But that's the rationale behind it. And we're going to taste two versions of this because this is like, you have never had this, by the way.
I'm so excited to taste it.
This is like, this is new. This is new.
And how much do I love that she knows I haven't tasted it?
And what is this we're having?
So there is a rustic Italian grape called Barbera. And hundreds of wineries are making Barbera wines from Barbera grapes. It's a varietal. And it's a really deep, inky red wine with a lot of acidity. And so I make a rosé, and it's out of Grenache grapes. And I buy those grapes from an old, from a vineyard east of here, from an old Italian family. And every time I go out, we just, we sit by the his truck and we just talk, and then I say, I'll take this, and he said, okay. And that's like the end of the contract. Like, we've been doing it for years like that. So last year I said, hey, what are those grapes over there again? He said, Barbera. I said, humor me, because I'm a French wine specialist. I said, tell me about Barbera. He goes, low tannin, high acidity, great aromatics. And my brain goes straight to Pinot Noir, because it is one of the greatest red wine varietals to make champagne. And that describes a Pinot Noir right then and there. Low tannins, high acidity, great aromatics. So I said, I'll take 5 tons and I'm gonna make sparkling wine out of it. And he goes, you're gonna do what? He's kind of used to me. Yeah. So we did, so we brought it in. No one's ever made it. It's not, there's a small place in Italy, in northern Italy, that makes a sparkling Barbera, but no one here. And I kind of consider this a 50-50, that it was a 50-50 down the drain or 50-50 in the glass. I mean, that's where we were. Wow. There was a moment in time that odd went to 80% down the drain, 20% in the glass. Because as it turns out, when you make sparkling wine, you have to have great acidity, like, period. It's like, think about lemonade. You have to have acidity to make sparkling no matter where you are in the world. Well, what was happening is Barbera, this red wine grape, you need some of those flavors, and we're getting to a place where our acidities are dropping, but there's no flavors, and we're going, oh man, this may be why no one makes sparkling Barbera. I mean, and then all of a sudden the flavors came. We brought in the Barbera, and we used champagne methods, so really kind of, you press this away from the skins right away. You can see no color. color dropped off right away.
Immediately.
But what was so crazy about this is Barbera is known for cherry. It's a red wine grape and it's known for cherry. There's no cherry in this at all.
Not at all.
None.
No.
None. And so we were tasting at first apricot and floral. And I agree, there's that kind of like almost that green apple, but it's that freshness. And so blown away. And so when you make champagne like these two, these are real champagnes, you have to do what's called method traditional, method champenoise, where you do your second fermentation in the bottle, right? And so, but the second way of doing it and how they were doing it in Italy is the Charmat method, which means you're doing your second fermentation in tank. So he said, well, you want to like divide it and try both? And like my eyes go like, yeah, we like
A/B testing.
A/B testing. Let's do it. Right on, baby. Let's do it. You know.
Well, this 20% chance sure worked.
I mean, and so that's what we did. We put half of it, a little bit more than half, because you have to fill the tank in Charmat method. That's what you have here.
Okay.
And then the other half in method traditionelle. And we had up to a year. We made the decision to keep it on yeast like champagne, which needs actually 2 or 3 years, for up to a year, but we started to taste it. This, so you just taste the Charmat method, and then this is the method traditionelle. So you tell me which one you like best. And by the way, we just did the great Blanc de Barbera taste-off to get feedback from our clients about what they like most, and they were no help.
Oh, really?
No, it came out 50-50. Yeah, they like both.
Oh my gosh.
So see if you notice a difference.
Smells different.
And then
It smells more like a traditional champagne,
does.
like a more yeasty
Yeah, but
nose on it.
you get the yeasty on
You
it.
get the yeasty nose on it.
And I can explain champagne in with three concepts, like how you make all sparkling wine. But if you think about like these two methods, one method traditionelle is like how you make champagne. A lot of wines like cava, most of the high-end sparklings are made in the bottle. So think about this small little vessel with yeast in a small vessel, and then it stays there for longer.
For a couple years.
So yeah, and so you have more contact with the yeast, and I can talk about what that does. Versus in a big tank, you have yeast, but you have a bigger volume, and it stays there for a shorter amount of time.
Right.
So yeast does a couple things. One, it stabilizes wine. That's a bizarre thing, so forget about that. But what it does do is it changes the mouthfeel. So it makes it a little bit more custardy, richer, thicker, whatever you want to call it. And then it changes the aromatics, and you nailed it. When you said that yeasty, brioche, bready, blah, blah, blah.
And now a second,
Ready.
and now I've had one mouthful of it. I'm now smelling butterscotch.
Well, that would
And-
come from a little bit of that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now it
From
smells.
the yeast?
Here's
Yeah.
the thing, I would be absolutely no help with this either because they're so different.
I want, and I know that part of it too is just the season that we're in right now. Like I'm looking at this going, I would have this with a slice of pumpkin pie.
Oh yeah, big time. You could definitely
And
do that.
that would be perfect. Whereas
The first one
the
seems
first
summery.
one, this one would be the heirloom tomato salad we just had the other day.
Yeah.
With chicken.
could
like,
definitely do that.
Like I'd see but they if you had told me that they were the same grape and just a different process, no, I would have said two entirely different.
Totally,
two
they're so
completely
different.
the same identical wine,
Just
two
a
processes.
process.
Which one do you think had a more of a dosage versus less of a dosage? Because this gets into the psychology and what your brain
I would
thinks.
think this one was more.
More. The second one.
The second
the
one.
traditional method.
The traditional.
I agree with you. That would have been my guess if I didn't know.
Yeah.
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 But I don't know.
And that's exactly what I would think too, because the richness in the palate makes
Right.
our brain think that it has more sugar to it.
It tastes-
It's the opposite.
It is.
And that's what's
That's
so cool.
Interesting.
Yes.
The first one seemed so crisp to me, and I
Yeah.
could really taste the flavor. And this one seems a little more traditional, a little
Yeah.
more sweet.
Yeah. This is the brand new. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful
So
label.
Very beautiful.
beautiful.
Is the method, which method, because we talked about the two
Yes.
different methods
Yeah.
here. What is the method for this one?
So this is a real champagne. So a real champagne means, so champagne is like Google or it's like Xerox or Kleenex. It's actually a brand name. And you can't call something a champagne that is not made in Champagne of 3 sorts of grapes and lots of standards. It's like super super difficult to make champagne. This is a real champagne made in France in the region of Champagne. It happens to be a Blanc de Blanc, which means it is a white wine from white grapes, which means it can only be 100% Chardonnay. So this, the next one you're going to have is a Blanc de Noir.
Oh, can we try this
Love
yet?
that. Blanc de Noir.
I thought that was pretend it's
It's got so much of that citrus and those florals, and and that everything you would expect from a Blanc de Blanc. This is a Blanc de Noir, and this means it's white wine from black grapes.
Okay.
And black grapes could mean either a Pinot Meunier or a Pinot Noir, or a blend of those two. This happens to be 100% Pinot Noir.
What's the difference between a black grape and a red grape?
One is red and one is white. Yeah, they call them black grapes, but they're really what we would call red grapes. Like Cabernet is a red grape, Pinot Noir is a red grape, Barbera is a red grape. So in France, they say Blanc de Noir, and meaning noir meaning black, but it's really red grape varietals.
The finish on this for me,
Yes.
is a Chinese almond cookie.
Oh yes, because
Like the ones you get in the Chinese restaurants,
yes.
the little almonds on top.
Yes.
how
Yes.
specific.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
But it
wow.
just,
I love it.
Because
It
at first
triggers
I was like, is that almond extract? And then I was like, is that like a cherry almond scone? Then I was like, and then I went to
The cookie.
Yeah.
Okay.
the restaurant
Yeah.
where we've had those, and I'm like, my mother. Oh,
See?
And here's the beauty.
lovely.
These are just the bubbles.
I know.
I know.
Pretty good.
You haven't even gotten to my favorites yet.
No.
Oh wow.
These are just, I know.
There's I didn't
Isn't
know
this
these would be so
remarkable?
many bubbles.
I know.
But this is just so
and
great
that's not even
too.
my specialty. But see, that's what's so fabulously cool about wine is like when we smell things that remind us of beautiful fruit or whatever, strawberry, blah 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 blah. It doesn't even matter. We think it's sweet. Like rosé does that to us. Like we smell a rosé and we think, oh my God, that smells so sweet, right?
Right.
But it's like ours. There's
Jennifer is the sweetest, not sweet. Like Jennifer is sweet. The Jennifer is not sweet.
is not sweet. But your brain thinks it is because it smells fruit. Fruit's sweet, so our brain tells us. When we taste things that are rich in the mouth, we think it's sweeter. We think it's higher alcohol. We think those things because it normally is. And so that's what's so cool about what our brain does and how it influences how we taste. And you can do this with this because we almost have an A/B experiment completely. Yeah.